CLG versus TSM is always legendary.
Before I even played for TSM, like, they were already going at it.
Reginald trying to go from the side, but Hotshot sees him in the fog of war. This is going to be a massacre for Team Solo mid.
Last time we played, I felt like we had more control of the game. They played a little bit more scared, and they did play their game.
Holbelter was just on the outside, but it's a triple kill for Bjergsen. 17-7, Solo mid takedown counter Logic Gaming.
Losing to TSM last time, we didn't know what we were doing, and it was a miracle that the game was even close.
I think it's going to be us taking another win because I think we're very determined right now.
This next game, if we at least get to execute our plan, then it'll see who's the better team. I just want to know for sure that we can beat TSM.
Championship Series. Now we've got a packed house as we kick off the second half of our summer split with a huge day of rematches. The fans are hyped, and you can see a couple fans putting aside their TSM and CLG alliances to share today's games. But up first, we'll have xSpecial and Piglet as Team Liquid takes on Gravity. Here's a bird's eye view of Bunny and company heading to the stage just a short time ago. You know, the last time these two teams went up against each other was pretty explosive. We'll see how it turns out today. Hello, everyone. I'm James Dash Patterson. It's great to have you with us for another day of action. Joining me on the analyst desk for our first three games, we've got Aiden Zyrene Moon, Joshua Jatleesman, and David Freak Turley. Gentlemen.
Thanks for joining us in the desk.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Isn't that
It wouldn't be the same without you.
Oh, that's so sweet, Freak. This is why I invite you back. We've got an action-packed day of games coming our way, not least of which, though, gentlemen, is the CLG and TSM game a little bit later today.
Yeah, and this is going to be really, really a very fun match. Both teams right now tied for first place. It's like we're back in Season 2 where these are the top dogs once again. And it'll definitely be an interesting game. We heard in the sort of the tease that Double have said if we can get to play our game, it'll be good. But both these teams do make some mistakes, so we'll see if their game even comes through.
Yeah, CLG tends to pick very high execution comps, and that kind of backfired against Team Liquid yesterday. The main reason I'm excited for this game, though, is yes, both teams could be seen as slumping this split, but they're both 7-2, and the winner will be in first place. So that's kind of the classic story for a TSM CLG when it's at its best.
Yeah, and CLG, they always seem, when they're in these high-pressure games, to pick something that's not comfortable with them. And so I want to see them go on something comfortable in this game and see what they can bring out when they have something that doesn't have that high execution
You don't want to see top lane Nautilus?
No.
No?
Without a doubt, the
I would love
standings,
to see those, though.
the standings implications of that game are pretty huge, as you mentioned, Jad, for first place. But finally, after weeks of waiting, TDK have gotten their full roster. Ninja and Emperor will start with the team today, but they've got a lot of making up to do here.
Yeah, even though they have played with the team, they built up a rapport with Ninja and Emperor over the time that they had the sub-squad. They were already scrimming with them, but now there are some shifts in it. They're going to go back to speaking Korean during the game. Smoothie doesn't speak a word of Korean for the most part,
That'll
so
be fun.
he's going to be left out.
Yeah.
Pez is going to try to translate for him in the games, and this is going to be kind of fun, though, because we already have 9 games, 9 losses for TDK. Now they have an entire other half to judge against their sub-squad record.
Yeah, and it's cool that you're talking about sort of the newcomers, the intended starters coming into the roster. Now, I do want to talk about the 2 new players to the roster. First off, the guy you probably should be excited about, Emperor, their AD carry. He used to play for CJ Blaze. He won World Cyber Games, was one of the better teams in Korea. Then he went over to Brazil. He played on Cade Stars, and they were the #1 team in Brazil. They faltered in playoffs, but regular season-wise, they were the best. And so this is a player who's still sort of kept up and been like a good carry for the region. He's probably still going to do well here. Ninja, the mid laner, I think less so. He was on he's also a Korean player, but he was on Team WE over in China in the spring split when they were the last place team. As soon as he got replaced, WE got good. So that one, we'll have to see how it goes. His track record's not very good, though.
Yeah, and TDK is definitely running out of time. Last split, you needed 9 wins to make the playoffs. They have 9 games left, and they're sitting at 0 wins. So they really have to pick it up right away. So, I mean, the pressure is immediately on for these new guys entering the roster.
Yeah, it can't be easy coming in, knowing that you got to pick up at least 7 wins to maybe even have the opportunity at a playoff spot this time around.
And 7 wins in 9 games is what we're seeing the first-place teams right now being at. So they're going to have a first-place performance.
All right, well, then we have to touch on our first match of the day, that Gravity versus Team Liquid game. These are 2 very solid teams that have been making a real case for themselves as a top team this split.
Yeah, and honestly, if TSM and CLG weren't playing today, this would easily be the game of the week. There is a lot of hype and story going into this Gravity and Team Liquid matchup.
Yeah, and they're both obviously very, very good teams. 6-3, tied for 3rd, like good records, good teams overall. It's weird to sort of judge the skill of these teams, though, because last time they met at the end of week 2, it was a really convincing win for Gravity. Gravity clearly seemed like a much better team. Team Liquid couldn't beat a top team, all that kind of stuff. And then really recently, like yesterday, Team Liquid was like, wow, we just pooped on CLG really convincingly, very few misplays, it was fine. When Gravity was like, God, we barely beat Impulse. And it's like, that's not what you want to have your team doing right coming into the match. So I want to see which sort of form each of these teams is in, and either the best they've ever done or poorly. Either could go either way.
Well, you mentioned that game yesterday, Team Liquid versus CLG. Team Liquid's game against CLG gave us an LCS big play for the ages and damn near broke Twitter. It spotlights Phoenix taking time out of the game to tell CLG about Shurima. At GK Stoll writes, we can officially shut down hashtag LCS big plays now, or rename it to hashtag LCS Phoenix plays. Holy crap, here it is.
And they want Phoenix in this turret.
Oh boy.
He's pretty strong though. What's he gonna do?
Oh, he got 2! He's gonna get a triple kill! A quadra kill! An amazing play by Phoenix on his air!
CLG is low. They tried flank from 2 sides. Double with next Smithy takes so much damage. They don't land the Bard CC. Triple Emperor's Defied into a soldier double.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that
It's just so good.
I like that it's always an Azir, by the way. Like, there have been a couple of good runner-up LCS big plays as well. I remember there was like Bishu's really good outplay on, I think, Bjergsen or Phoenix, like way back when. Like, Azir keeps doing really cool things, which I'm happy about.
He killed 4 people within like half a second.
Yeah.
That's the impressive part. The most impressive part in this play. Yeah.
Right,
It was his turret.
Hadn't even announced the double kill yet
turret's
when he secured the 4th kill.
Right.
Anyway, very flashy champion, very flashy play. Let's check out how the teams are stacked up, though, in the standings after yesterday's games. In first place, it's CLG, Team Dignitas, and Team Solo Mid. Gravity and Team Liquid are in 4th, with Team Impulse 2 games back in 6th. In 7th place, it's Cloud9 and Enemy Esports with 3 wins, followed by Team 8 and Team Dragon Knights. Then looking at today's schedule, we've got a huge day of rematches. Up first, Gravity will take on Team Liquid, followed by a battle for 6th place between Team Impulse and Cloud9. In our 4th match, Team Dragon Knights will challenge Team Dignitas and will close out the day with Team 8 versus Enemy. In the middle of all of that is our game of the week, El Clasico between Counterlogic Gaming and Team Solo Mid. As we mentioned, the stakes couldn't be higher as they battle for first place and Team Pride. Now, with so much hype surrounding this rivalry, we wanted to see what the storylines you're most interested in are. So today, we want you to send us your TSM CLG rivalry questions for Freak and Zyrene to answer later in the show. Ask our experts what they think the game will hinge on, the history of the rivalry, lane matchups, or even which pro they think would look best with pink hair. Address your questions to @LOLesports and use the hashtag TSMCLG. But now it's time for our first game, so we're going to send it over to the casters to kick it off.